Good evening to those who listen. It is 11:17 p.m., March 17th, 2026. And here's the Bible changes in Luke chapter 22. I might have to make it into two videos because there are so many things, and I'm also going through what it also says in the NIV version. There's a lot. Verse 3 is, then entered Satan into Judas, and in the NIV says, Satan entered into Judas. 4, and he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains. I didn't need to go through all that. Captains. And in the NIV, it is officers. Verse 5, and they were glad and covenanted to give him money. NIV was delighted and agreed to give him money. Verse 6, and he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. NIV is consented and watched for an opportunity in the absence of, or in absence in the King James is no crowd was present. Verse 7, then came the day of unleavened bread when the Passover must be killed. Passover is a festival, or not festival, observance, not a thing to be killed. NIV says sacrifice of Passover, which would be correct. Verse 11 has guest chamber, and the guest chamber was all one word. NIV has guest room, not guest, guest room. Verse 15, and he said unto them, with desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. With desire I have desired. The NIV is eagerly desired. Verse 21, but behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And the NIV also says on the table. No, it was at the table. Verse 23, and they began to inquire among themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. There's another King James version that has inquire with an E. I guess inquiring minds want to know. And both of them had the same, the NIV also had do this thing. Verse 24, and there was also a strife. There was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted, not counted, which of them should be counted the greatest. So a strife and accounted. So strife, the NIV has dispute, and the NIV has considered. And all this is at the Last Supper. So it goes on. So Jesus is talking to the disciples, and then it comes to the point where, I remember the talking about who's, they were inquiring among themselves which of them that was going to betray Jesus. I remember that at the Last Supper. But does anybody remember the conversation of who was the greatest of the disciples during the Last Supper? I thought it was a different time that it happened. So it's kind of strange. Anybody remember that? Verse 25, they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. And it's also benefactors in the NIV. And verse 26, but ye shall not be so, but he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger. I believe it used to say, be the least. He that is greatest among you, let him be the least, and he that is least, I don't know, it's changed. And now it says, and he that is chief, was he an Indian? As he that doth serve. In the NIV, it says, be as the youngest. And the NIV says, one who rules instead of chief. So does anybody remember all of this? That Jesus was talking so much about who is greater and who isn't at the Last Supper. Why are they talking about who's the greatest disciple when literally he's getting ready to be crucified? Verse 27, for whether is greater he that sitteth at meat or he that serveth? Is not he that sitteth at meat, meaning is the one that's sitting at meat, being served the greatest, but I am among you as he that serveth. And then it's totally the opposite in verse 27 of the NIV. So it's at the table, he that serveth, and the other one is at the table is the, so one is at the table is the greatest, and then he that serveth isn't, and the other way is the other way around. We got 28 has, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and NIV is trials. Verse 29 seems to be right or okay in the King James, but in the NIV it says, and I appoint unto you here in King James, and the NIV is, and I confer. I confer? And then also, verse 30, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Does anybody remember that that the disciples were going to be the ones that were sitting on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel? Another question for you there. Verse 31, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, and does anybody remember it being Peter? That the Lord said, Peter, behold. So there's another one that could be a change. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. What? That don't sound right. And verse 31 is asked, this is NIV, asked to sift all of you as wheat. Does that mean all of you as disciples or all of you, Simon Peter? Verse 32 has, and when thou art converted, and in the NIV it is turned back. And when thou art turned back, strengthen my brethren. What? Verse 36, or 35, sorry. We got purse and script and shoes. The NIV is purse and bag and sandals. And lack ye anything, this has anything is 2 words, and the NIV is 1 word, anything. Then we got purse and script again. In verse 36 also, and he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. Do you guys remember Jesus asking the disciples to buy swords? Verse 37, for I say unto you that is written. This whole verse is all weird. For I say unto you that that is written must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors, for the things concerning me have an end. 37, for reckoned is numbered. And there's another King James version, and it says, and then all the transgressors in there is all caps in the NIV. And have an end is in the King James, and NIV is reaching its fulfillment. Verse 39, and he came out and went, and he was wont, or won't. Well, there's no apostrophe, so I don't think it's won't. But in the NIV, it was, he went out as usual. Backing up to verse 38. And he said, Lord, behold, here are 2 swords. And he said unto them, it is enough. And in the NIV version, it says, that's enough. And it has an exclamation point at the end. So he said unto them, that's enough. Wow. And verse 39 was the want. And when I was usual, verse 41, and he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast. And in the NIV, the NIV is withdrawn, and it's a stone's throw. How do you know? Everybody throws a stone different distances. All right, this is getting long. I'm going to have to cut it off and do another video So this is part one. We'll do part two. Thanks for watching. God bless.